Night City, California, year 2077. This is something I've been waiting for. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, everything we know about Cyberpunk 2077. So a couple years ago, we got a CGI trailer of Cyberpunk 2077, which would be the latest work from The Witcher 3's developers CD Projekt Red. It was a game that was actually foreshadowed in The Witcher 3 when Ciri was traveling through different dimensions. She spoke of basically Cyberpunk. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 is based on Cyberpunk 2020, which is a board game, obviously, that takes place 57 years prior to Cyberpunk 2077. The original creator of the tabletop game, Mike Pondsmith, is working with them on the project. The world of Cyberpunk takes place in Night City, which is somewhere between Los Angeles and San Francisco, in a fictional version of our world in the year 2077. Cyberpunk 2020 happens after a socio-economical collapse, which was followed by a period of martial law, which ultimately had to yield to several mega corporations, which are basically given the ability to operate totally free of regulation because the United States government relies on them and not vice versa. One way you could look at it is a combination between feudalism and dictatorship in a more competitive capitalist situation escalated to a hyper level. This has created a dystopia. There's a lot of expansions to the 2077 version of the universe, and supposedly they're working to keep everything in line with 2020, but being it is an intentionally different franchise, it could be different. Cyberpunk is a genre that's typically meant to criticize the world in a very hyper-exaggerated way, which means Cyberpunk 2077 will probably be met with a lot of people who really like it and a lot of people who are a little confused by what it's getting at. But it's gorgeous, so it may not really matter. Anyway, you play as V. You are a cyberpunk. There are a number of cyber-enhanced street warriors. Now, CD Projekt Red didn't want to leave people in the dark and actually hid some interesting messages in the Cyberpunk trailer we saw in the Microsoft presentation. They outlined a few of the plot points. Again, they talk about how it's an alternative future where America is in pieces and megacorporations control all aspects of civilized life, while just outside their reach, gangs rule. This has the potential to be a game that satirizes and criticizes our society in a way that actually Witcher 3 kinda does, but maybe to an extreme. Witcher 3 isn't exactly not critical of the world as it is today. See the sort of nerdy academic Aldert Geert, who was an Oxenford scholar, who got a little bit too close to the war simply because he wanted to write about it. That ended up costing him dearly, and there's about 400 million stories that mirror that in real life. Cyberpunk promises probably to do even more than that, being The Witcher isn't really supposed to take place in a version of our world, whereas Cyberpunk 2077 is. The hidden text in the trailer also answers some pretty important questions that I think we all had, the most pressing of which, of course, was the release date, which they said that they would only say the release date when the game is ready. They also reassured everybody that quality is the driving philosophy behind the game, and since Witcher 3 did so damn well, they've got the cash to finance it, so I would listen to what it is they're saying. They also anticipated people might really want to know how big the game is, but they don't have an answer. They don't even know at this point. I would guess it's because they've probably designed all of the areas separately and haven't combined them into a specific map. But they say that they will be saying how big the game is specifically before they start taking pre-orders. On the topic of DLC expansions and DRM, they said expect exactly what you got with Witcher 3, and nothing less. With The Witcher 3, obviously that meant we got a lot of free updates that patched various issues and added small amounts of little, but still interesting and worthwhile content. But we also got 2 expansions called Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. Both could easily be counted, I think, as games on their own. Hearts of Stone still taking place in the same main map, and Blood and Wine featuring an entirely new one. Blood and Wine also had a tonal shift that moved even more towards satire, specifically of fantasy RPGs and fantasy in general, and considering the quality of all after-release content that The Witcher 3 got, to say expect nothing less of Cyberpunk is very, very encouraging. They also said Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be 100% DRM free on PC, and on every platform there will be no microtransactions. In fact, to quote them, they said, "Microtransactions in a single-player role-playing game? Are you nuts?" And it's like they're fighting the good fight.
Actually, to interrupt Falcon for a second, sorry dude, not to be rude, but now that E3 has come and gone, while we were here, I did get to check out a gameplay demo of the game running live on PC with a developer from CD Projekt Red, and I have a few little bits of new information. Now bear with us because we couldn't actually capture any footage, so we may have to just kind of repeat the trailer for now, but first off, I was totally skeptical because I love the trailer, but then they said the game was in first person. I thought it was an odd choice, and I saw a lot of other fans feel the same way. But after seeing roughly 45 minutes of the game in action, I'm happy to say I've changed my mind. So far, the game looks pretty awesome, and I'm happy to confirm that, and I'm looking forward to whenever it releases. But first off, you choose your character V between male or female, and you can customize their face and hairstyle to your liking. You have a few RPG style sections to choose from to set up who your character is, like for example who they idolize in this world, and you can choose from one of 3 background stories about their upbringing. Think of a game like Mass Effect or a similar RPG where maybe you start in the middle game and you have to kind of pick your backstory. It's like that. Also, very interestingly enough, despite what has been suggested and kind of what we thought just judging by Cyberpunk lore, there aren't classes in the game. Cyberpunk is an RPG, but it's a fluid system where you level up and upgrade yourself however you want and cater to your playstyle. Also, there are a lot of choices with this. You can upgrade your cybernetics from either legit places or black market places and get access to cooler stuff like a special scanner eyeball that allows you to zoom in and assess threats and even see through walls at a point. It also does look like you can get a different look and customize not only your cyber stuff, but also weapons and your shirt, your jacket, and your pants. There's the basic RPG stats as well as, importantly, street cred stat that apparently affects side missions. You could play stealth or go in guns blazing for pretty much any mission, and that seems to be where the game shines. You can inhale these combat enhancing meds that enhance you in combat, and overall, it just seems really fast and chaotic here. It almost feels like an id shooter from what I've seen. I know that sounds kind of unexpected, but the game is that chaotic. Think of a more fast-paced, exciting Deus Ex where you can dash to the sides, slide on the ground, dive backwards, and slow down time and blow the legs off of dudes with a shotgun. There's also a charge shot that can blast through walls with that shotgun. Now, on the other hand, the pistol can do ricochet shots around corners. That was pretty awesome. And we got to see a smart rifle that fires bullets that hone in on targets, even if you're not completely aiming at them. And it can shoot them from around corners and stuff. Combat just generally seems to be fast, frantic, and from what I could see, it seemed to be really satisfying. And there was a decent amount of environmental destruction too. You can also have an ability where blades come out of your arms, like from that first trailer with the girl, and you can run on walls and stick your arms into the concrete and post up, or jump down and stab dudes and then engage in melee style combat with them. Going from mission to mission involved driving, which you can do, I can confirm, in first or third person, and it looks pretty good. It doesn't seem to be on rails. It seemed to be pretty freeform and chaotic if you want. One section did turn into a car chase, like totally organically and naturally, where all of a sudden your partner took the wheel and you started shooting up a van with your machine pistol. And one of the big things CD Projekt Red emphasized was that every mission just seems to have a variety of choices, like any good RPG. But what I did notice here is that there's usually more than just 2 choices. It's not as binary. What was especially unique was when you're dealing with multiple characters, you have multiple choices, like you can lie to one and then look to your right and choose from a bunch of decisions there, like punching them. There's a lot going on and various ways to tackle everything, and I think between that and the actual look and size of the world is where Cyberpunk 2077 seems to be the most ambitious. Otherwise, the game seems to be vulgar, it's detailed, and it's beautiful and kind of funny. There were some cringy dialogue moments, but otherwise, the game was really badass, and I think just judging from this gameplay demo, it's off to a great start. I hope they reveal gameplay for everyone really soon. But that is really everything we think you need to know about Cyberpunk 2077 right now. After E3 2018, we got a little bit of information, so we figured it was worth making a video because everyone seems to be really pumped. If you did enjoy this though, clicking the like button does help us out and we do really appreciate it. We hope to see you down in the comments, but if you are new, consider subscribing because we put out stuff like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.